Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Up Supercast Game Club. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. And joining me today, I've got Ills.
Give me your womb.
And I got Noah.
Fiona.
Hey, you guys, you sound absolutely crazy.
I just want a womb.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally reasonable. Especially when you play a game like Haunting Ground, which is what we played this week. And Haunting Ground was picked by Noah for us to play. And this game was developed by Capcom and published by Capcom as well. It was released on the PlayStation 2 in April of 2005 in Japan, in May in 2005 in North America. It is known as Demento in Japan, so it goes by a different name there. And it's a survival horror game, so it's definitely something that Capcom has a lot of, I guess you would say, expertise in, right? Because they've made Resident Evil and Clock Tower 3 and a whole bunch of other horror games. I guess Devil May Cry, if you count that as horror.
Not really.
Dead Rising, if you count that as horror, but again, kind of not really.
A little bit closer,
horror,
I guess.
Yeah. I would say Devil May Cry, the first one, has...
The first one is definitely more oriented around horror.
Yeah, it has a little bit of horror in there, because, I mean, it was a Resident Evil game originally, and got transformed into its own thing. And speaking of that, of a game being something originally and getting transformed into its own thing, there's no official confirmation of this, so this is just a fan theory. But a lot of people think that Haunting Grounds is a spiritual successor, or started off as part of the Clock Tower series.
Yes, I can definitely see that, especially in the game's mechanics.
Yeah. So if you don't know Clock Tower, it is a series of horror games, point and click for the first two, and then the third game, which was made by Capcom, which apparently is, from what I've read, the worst game in the series. But it's a series of games where you're trying to kind of escape a house or a mansion, and there's enemies that will chase after you while you're trying to escape, and you need to hide.
Wow.
And
I've never played anything like that.
No, never, ever.
Never before.
Well, this game is a lot like that in terms of just the idea and the premise. So, in Haunting Ground, you play as a college student. Her name is Fiona, and she's I think 18 years old, and she gets into a car accident with her parents and wakes up in a big castle, and quickly realizes that she needs to get out of there. And you befriend a dog named Huey, and then you and Huey are doing your best to escape this nightmarish castle that you've woken up in. So that's the basic premise of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, you're really just trying to escape. And before I get really into that, Noah, you picked this game, like I mentioned. Why don't you tell us and tell everybody why this is the game that you chose this week for us to play?
Okay, so there was two reasons for that. So a while ago, I was talking to one of my Greek friends, and we were like discussing like one of the projects that I was working on, like the game I'm making that has kind of gone on hiatus, but whatever. But I had the original idea of having a main character work together with a pet animal, which was going to be a dog, incidentally, and how I would work around like puzzle elements and like just into like a horror survival setting. So he actually recommended this game. He had known about it. I had no idea about it and told me Haunted Ground. So I was like, that was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, this would be a cool game to try out, get some references, get some ideas. Maybe I can get something like some cool ideas and puzzles or something. I like introduction how to get a good mechanic going, working, just to get a good idea.
Okay.
And so I always had that in the back of my mind. But then recently, I kind of wanted to play like a good survival horror game like Clock Tower, which I had played Clock Tower 3, which was on the PlayStation 2, and I really liked it. And so I was like looking for like a sequel or something because I was curious if they made any more of them. And it turns out this was the same company that made Clock Tower 3 made this one. So I was like, oh, so it's like I guess it was kind of like a spiritual successor in a way. So that was the reason number 2. So I was like, figured might as well give it a try. And now is like the perfect time.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, I have heard of this game prior to you choosing it, and really the only reason I knew about this game is, there was a while where I was just, always on the lookout for rare games, trying to get a collection going, and like, anytime you look somewhere, I wanted to be aware of what games were rare, so that if I ever came across one, I would be like, okay, well, is it at a decent price? Maybe I can get a steal. So this was one of the PS2 games that I knew about that was, just a rare game. It's not extremely rare, but it does go for a stupid amount of money right now. Like, if you want to buy it, you're probably at least spending like $100 or so at the minimum. So I wouldn't recommend this be a game that you would buy unless you're like really into collecting, because it's game collecting is a pain in the ass, and I don't really know the exact reason. I'm going to assume that it's just a low print run of this game, because it came out in 2005, which was I think I can't say PlayStation 2's final year because I mean that fucking thing went forever, right? But it was the year before PlayStation 3 came out, so maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe Capcom just didn't have a lot of faith in the game selling a lot, so they didn't print a lot. Who knows the exact reason, really, but regardless, I'm sure that's why the game has gone up in price. And it's also gotten like a small cult following online, like people saying, oh, this game is good, this is a really cool game. So anytime a game has a small print run and people are saying, good things about it, the prices just fucking shoot through the roof, so that's why.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I don't buy it. The reason is the jiggle physics. I know it.
That's why everybody 100%. Wants it. So I mean, you mentioned jiggle physics. This game, for one reason or another, has some ridiculous jiggle physics in it. Like, and anytime you move Fiona, even just a tap, like her boobs are just bouncing everywhere. It doesn't have
active.
It doesn't have like the DOA jiggle physics where each boob has its own fucking like own physics, but it's not to that extent. But it's like you just look at it and you're like, why? Because it's not realistic. I can tell you that.
What do you mean?
But yeah, I mean Fiona.
That's how girls work. What do you mean?
That's how boobs work. I learned from video games. Know exactly how boobs work. Okay. So in this game, like we mentioned, I mean the main gameplay is you as Fiona are trying to escape this castle, and you do that really by solving puzzles, trying to get further and further in or out of the castle, and just trying to do what you can. So you go through a lot of the puzzles are kind of Resident Evil style. You find items, and one item will unlock something to get you another item that you want to bring here and plug it into here. And I would say for the most part, the puzzles are pretty decent. I actually liked a fair amount of them. I don't know, what did you guys think?
Yeah, I generally thought they were pretty good. Some of them took a little bit more thinking, which was fine. But the ones that I didn't like particularly were the ones where you had to use the dog to like sit on a button or something, because those were kind of annoying. But
yeah, I think that was like the worst puzzle in the game. If you're talking about the same one I'm thinking of, like that was the worst puzzle.
I think there's like
the one with the mummy in the room.
Yeah, you have to do like an exorcism on them and use like 4 different colored buttons, and you have to press them in like a specific order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 instances of that
pain.
where you have to do like the button press with the dog. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one where you have to do it in a like go in one room, leave him in another room, and have him sit there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, in general, yeah, they were good.
Yeah, in general, they're pretty good. None of them were really, really hard to figure out, but all of them were just enough where, you know, you did have to think a little bit. Okay, well, what do I do with this? Where do I bring it? You know. So those are the kind of puzzles I like the most. You know.
I mean, the biggest thing with the puzzles was like trying to, you know, have enough time to actually finish the puzzle. You know, when you weren't getting interrupted by a fucking person chasing you for forever.
So that was how, like, the main mechanic of one of the main things about the game, or the survival horror elements, was basically you're free to wander around the castle to explore and such, but you have these pursuers. The enemies of the game are basically the pursuers. So if they see you, they start chasing you, and they can attack you, they can lethal KO you, they can make you panic and all that. But yeah, they'll keep chasing you until you either hide away, like in a closet under a bed or in the shadows, and then once they get away, then you can start interacting with everything again, because while you're being chased, you can't interact with anything. You have to find a getaway from the pursuer first.
Yeah, the game does not let you do any puzzles or save the game or pick anything up you find on the floor, anything like that. Fiona's like, no, I don't have time for that right now. So you can't. You have to lose the people chasing you.
Right.
And that becomes very frustrating because
extremely.
Because here's the thing with this, like, as a mechanic in the game, I think it's fine. And at the beginning of the game, I didn't find it like too annoying. Because the game like teaches you, hey, they're chasing you. There's spots where you can hide, and if you use these spots too many times, they'll figure you out, and you know, you just have to hide, wait for them to leave, and then you're good, and you can keep going. Well, at first you're like, okay, that's kind of cool, you know, it has a suspense once you're hiding, like the camera shifts to your pursuer and like follows them around so you can see what they're doing,
or
and,
in
like,
first person
look for you. Yeah, or in first person. And that is like, okay, well, this is like tense, you know, but it quickly loses that once you realize that the encounters just they happen randomly and sometimes far too often. And you're just trying to solve a puzzle. And then it gets frustrating because you're trying to lose them. And you have to run in, like, where you're doing the puzzle doesn't have any hiding spots. And all of a sudden you're, like, halfway across the fucking castle by the time you lose them. And you have to run all the way back. And you run all the way back, and then you have, like, a minute before they come again. And you're like, oh my fucking God. You know? To me, that was, like, really annoying.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this game is also like one of the things that causes a lot of problems, which is how open the environments are. Like, you can open a door, you can open many doors, and you can just keep walking. Yeah. There's like no loading time between the screens. Or, you know,
that's great. Blew my fucking mind.
Yeah,
there's not one single loading screen in this fucking game.
Coming from a Resident Evil, that's insane.
Yeah, right?
I want to know how they did it on the PlayStation 2, because the PlayStation 2... at the time, too, of the 3 main consoles, GameCube, Xbox, PS2, it was the weakest console of the 3, right? How the fuck did they get this
loading
game?
Screens galore and a lot of
absolutely,
games.
Yeah. They had no loading screens in this game. You run seamlessly from room to room, and on top of that, the game like looks really good too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's impressive. People at Capcom.
But the problem is that the enemies can also run screen to screen, no problem. They will chase you from wherever you started to wherever they end up. They will just keep chasing you. There's no, like, unless you find a hiding spot or they just, like, you outrun them, they'll just keep going. and that will lead you to do a lot of backtracking, which is fucking frustrating.
You will learn the castle inside out or the mansion inside out, whether you like it or not, because we go through all the rooms so many times. But I didn't have that much issue with the pursuers until the third pursuer. Like, I had the castle and the beginning of the mansion were fine with me because, well, in general, the game had a lot of hiding spots in those areas. After that, they were very scarce, though.
They get sparser as it goes on, and it's very annoying.
But on the plus side, you have Huey, which I used him every time. You can use Huey to attack the pursuers and keep them there as you run away.
You have to, because if you don't, you can't hide in a fuck anywhere if they're near you. So you have to have enough room between. You have
to have like at least a room difference. Like, you can't be in the same room. If you're in the next room and it has a hiding space, you might have time to get in the closet or something. Or that, which I recently found out. Well, recently. Towards the middle of the game, you can hide behind open doors, shadows.
Yeah, you can hide in shadows. Yeah.
But depends.
So you can essentially run into a room, out of the room that the pursuer's in, get behind the door, crouch, let them run past, and then if they go into the next room before actually searching the room you're in, you can dip out fast and go back the other way where you were heading.
That doesn't
which
work
I managed
to
do a few times.
It doesn't work on all your pursuers.
It doesn't work on all.
It works like a charm because he's a big dumb idiot. But once you get to the second one, even Danielle, she closes door behind
her.
Oh God!
I noticed that.
That's was like one of the scariest things about her was that she closes doors.
Yeah.
I mean, she's terrifying, but that was really fucked.
Yeah, it makes it harder to get away from her because you're like, oh, here she comes. Oh, fuck, all the doors I just had open are all closed. And it makes it even more difficult to get away because you're wasting time opening fucking doors.
Yeah.
Which I didn't find out till near the end of the game that you can apparently fucking kick them open.
Oh, God.
You don't. You didn't have to fucking like open each door. Like if it was swinging in the way you were going, you could just kick it. I had no fucking idea until near the end of the game. I did it on accident, and I was like, "Well, damn, this would have been nice to know."
Danielle was kind of easy for me to get away from her because she never ran. She walked fast.
Yeah, but she always seemed to appear wherever she wanted.
She appeared definitely appeared a lot more than Debilitas, the ogre guy, but not.
She
but I was able. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess she does teleport.
I don't know how the fuck she does it, but she does.
But I mean, also, like, she is the best one out of all of them. Like, she has the scariest music. She is the scariest. Like, she's basically like a slasher in a slasher film because, like, she shows up behind the fucking film projector.
Did she ever? Yeah. Did you guys ever find her in a closet? She was in a closet where I went to hide, and she was in there, and she scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I found her in like a safe spot, but yeah.
She's the best. I guess we can talk about like your different pursuers, because the first one that you have is his name is Debilitas. Diabetes, whatever his name is.
Debilitas, yeah.
Debilitis, and he has a weird name, Debilitas. So he's a big ogre of a man, very childlike, and he kind of like Sloth from the Goonies. Kind of reminds me of him. He basically he sees Fiona and he has a bunch of dolls that he plays with, like children's dolls, and he sees Fiona and he's like, "Oh, you're like a really big doll," and he just wants to capture you so that he can, play with you, like
bear hug you to death.
Yeah. So that's why he's pursuing you. He is not that hard to get away from. I mean, he's big, so sometimes when you're in a small corridor, it's a little tough. But like, you can juke him, and he's easy to trick, and he's easy to hide from. Most of the times, once you hide, he doesn't really find you. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have too much of an issue with getting away from him.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the game, I kind of thought this game was a little bit more goofy because he kind of set that tone for me. Like, I didn't think it was that scary or it was going to get that scary, like ever. But yeah, that I was quickly dissuaded of that when Danielle came around.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Danielle is the second one, and she's the maid of the castle. And she, at first, when you first meet her, she's the first character you actually meet, really, in the game, like formally. And she gives you, because you start off in just a bed sheet, and she gives you like a pair of clothes. She puts them on your bed, and she even like calls you a guest and everything. And you're like, okay, she ain't too bad, right? She's a little cold, off-putting, but like she's not too bad. She seems all right. But then after you're done with Debilitus, and after you have the boss fight with him, she's like, oh well, dinner's served, and you go to eat. And also, she suddenly has blood all over her hands, so I don't know why I definitely would have been like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think I want to eat this food. If I saw the person who prepared it have blood all over their hands. But
Special sauce.
and she's she explains that she has she's like, I wish I could taste food. I wish she has no feelings. She's like, I can't experience joy, I can't taste, I can't feel pain. She's like, I was molded to be the perfect woman. And you're just like, what? This is weird, right? Why are you telling me this? So you also don't feel good. Fiona doesn't feel good after she eats the food. She goes to lie down, and then she wakes up to Daniela like creeping over her, and basically Daniela snaps at that point, and she's just like, hey, she's like, I need you to, I need your womanhood to be able to become, to be able to feel and experience and all that. She's jealous of you.
Yeah, she's like, I am not complete. I am not complete.
Yeah, she wants to feel pleasure. So she tries to kill you. She smashes her head into a window, snaps off a giant shard of glass, then just is like, she starts coming after you. And at that point, you realize too, she walks in front of her reflection and she starts freaking out. So you can stun her with mirrors. Like if you see a mirror, you can like open it. Like a lot of them are like covered. You like uncover the mirror, and she walks in front of it. She'll like scream and then smash the mirror, but gives you a couple seconds to escape. And I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that after she does that and she starts pursuing you again, she has this like robotic walk that's like, that's the most terrifying thing in the game, I think, to me, was just her animation on when she was walking. She became like a robot, and I was like, holy shit, this woman is insane.
Yeah, I think she becomes more and more like that the more mirrors she smashes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see her smash a single mirror, and I opened every mirror I could find. She never got stunned. Like,
I only broke two mirrors.
You have to like get her near it.
Yeah.
You have to like be in
annoying.
front of it and then just kind of like walk away as she's like about to hit you. And at that point, then she usually notices it.
Yeah, and she stays there for a while. Like that will guarantee you an escape.
You mentioned the music. The music when she pursues you, and it's very unsettling. And one of the cool things I found out when reading about this game is that apparently, rather than streaming audio files for the music in the game, like when the pursuers come after you, all the sounds were generated using the PlayStation 2's built-in sounds. Like there's already like some built-in sounds in the games, like in the system itself. And that way they were able to, like, the composers could easily change the tempo of the music and stuff as they're pursuing you, like to match it in real time. Which I thought was that's really cool.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so it's not just like an audio file that starts playing. It's like the game like starts like generating sounds based on code or however close you are and how crazy you're going.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it switches seamlessly from like calm, almost no music to fucking crazy, you're shitting yourself music. So
yeah, and the more crazy you're going, the music kind of like gets up in tempo.
Yeah, the closer they are to you.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of shitting themselves, there's another mechanic in the game called the panic mechanic. So you don't really have a health bar in this game. It's more of the pursuers do have like a one-hit KO grapple move, and that if you get grabbed and you don't have Huey help you attack them or something, like you get you die, just basically. But there's also the more scarier things you come across, like if you see blood on a pillar and you interact with it, Fiona will get like jumps, you get scared, and like her heart, like, and it'll increase your panic. So once your panic gets to a certain level, you have a minor panic attack, which is like your screen starts to get a little fuzzy, you hear her heartbeat, she might stumble here and there if she's running for a while. Yeah, like, he's basically just really scared. And if that keeps happening, either by you being chased for a really long time, or interacting with too many things, or certain enemies like have special moves, like they're like these little dolls called failures, where they just grab your leg and start screaming, and it scares the shit out of Fiona.
Or if the luminescence hits you, or if Huey gets hurt.
Yeah. So once you get really panicked, then Fiona just lets out a scream, and she just starts running uncontrollably, and it's really hard to control her, and she starts crashing into walls, falling down, crawling. If she falls down, she starts crawling away from the pursuer very slowly, like in horror movies. And though that leaves you extremely vulnerable to the pursuers when that happens. So like you're very likely to die if that happens and you're being pursued by somebody.
Yeah.
You can't use any items to calm you down. You can't call Huey to help you. Nothing.
Yeah, once you get to that point, you can't even like open the menu until it's gone. And it's like it's like a good like 10, 15
It lasts like a good 10 to 20 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, you go back to being slightly panicked, not just completely calm.
Right. And then you can use items to calm yourself down
Yeah.
at that point. But
that was like a really cool. I really like that they had that same mechanic in Clock Tower 3. Though in Clock Tower 3, they actually had a physical bar that showed how much panic you had.
God.
So once that filled up, then like you would go into panic mode, and it's like Clock Tower 3 has like almost exactly same gameplay, where you have a pursuer, you have hiding places, and then you have a boss fight to fight them at later on. Although this one was more focused on puzzles. Actually, no, they're both focused. Anyway, the other one, the Clock Tower 3 was more stage-based rather than this one, which was one giant stage, basically. But yeah, you had a physical bar. You could see when she was about to go into crazy mode, and then how long it would take to deplete the panic before she's okay again. In this game, you don't have that. You just have you know when you're slightly panicking, and you'll know when you are panicking full on.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was a bar. I mean, even in the menu, like it didn't have to be in the HUD or anything.
That's the thing, yeah, because I think it's cool that there's no HUD at all. I think that is cool. But I think, like Resident Evil, there should have been, when you opened up your menu, some sort of indicator to show you, like, what kind of state you're in. Because you don't know, other than and I do like the screen effects and stuff that happen when you start, like, freaking out, how things get, like, blurry, and the music kind of changes. I do like those. I think they're actually really cool. But I wish there was something on, and at minimum on the menu screen, because, it would be nice to know, like, okay, like, when should I use my, like, chamomile here, or my lavender or whatever it is? When should I use it? I don't want to use it if, like, I'm not close. I want to use it, like, when I'm almost, like, to my breaking point. That way you get the most use out of the item. I don't know. I do agree with you, Ilse. I wish there was some sort of. I'm
on the opposite end. I liked it that it was hidden from you, because it didn't seem like the lavender calmed you down over time, didn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, just to know when you're at that breaking point, so that you don't have to constantly go through the running. The uncontrollable running thing is annoying.
Right. Well, that was the thing. It was like there was 3 levels. It was calm, there was slightly panicked, and there was super panicked. Once you get to slightly panicked, that's the time to use it.
Yeah, but
I thought it was kind of silly, like the scream and then I'm gonna run into walls. I thought it was like a little silly in a way too. I'm like,
well, I mean,
you really gonna fucking start running into walls like that? I don't know.
I mean, if you're scared out of your mind, you don't think clearly and you don't act naturally.
I don't think you're gonna start ramming into walls left and right like that.
Well, not ramming into walls, but
like I'm panicked in like the first like beginning part where you're like stumbling and stuff, and like that makes sense. Like you're getting tired, you're scared, you don't have that much control, like you're just like you're trembling. But like to the point where she just screams and just starts like bumping into everything like left and right for like a good 20 seconds. I don't know. I thought that was a little like, okay, this is kind of silly.
I mean, the thing is that she's just trying to run as fast as she can.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it just became like a pinball, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
I was just like,
it was annoying. It was definitely annoying.
I mean, it's kind of the point.
yes and no. I mean, I feel like they could have done that without it being so annoying. I don't know. Like giving me like a panic bar and like a stamina bar for me and Huey, that would have gone a long way, at least in the menu, because I know not to fuck up the HUD. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, for the chamomile, for the stamina stuff, it was easy to tell because you see the characters actually start, like, especially with Fiona, she'll like start holding her chest, she'll be out of breath, and then she gets more and more, and she gets slower and slower when she really needs it. Like, when she's completely out of stamina, she'll just be like dragging her feet.
Yeah.
And with Huey, it's the same thing. Like, his ears will slump when he's low on stamina. He'll be like really, not cautious. What's the word I'm looking for? Anxious. Like, his ears will be slumped over. His tail won't be wagging.
Mm-hmm.
He won't have his tongue out of his mouth. He won't be panting. And then later on, like,
the thing I like. I want to mention as I really like the animations on Huey. I thought they were like.
Oh yeah. Good. They were very good, like extraordinarily good. Mm-hmm. Like I read up later on that they actually did motion capture for a dog, and they actually matched it almost perfectly. It was really impressive.
Yeah,
yeah, they do a really good job on Huey. Like Huey, overall, I really like the inclusion of Huey. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, he's the star of the show for sure.
Yeah, he's really cool. The only thing is frustrating at some points, especially near the beginning of the game when he doesn't listen to you and you're trying to solve puzzles and you have to keep like.
Oh yeah, you have to build up your friendship for him to like obey you perfectly.
Yeah, there's some sort of hidden friendship level too, and that's it's hidden. You don't really know. The only way you can gauge it is like how well he responds to you and how well he listens to you. So on the right stick, you can say. There's different things you can do with the right stick. That's how you control Huey, is basically giving him commands. And like up is like go.
Search
like,
or attack.
Go. Yeah, like you tell him to go somewhere. Yeah, you can have him search something or go in a specific place for a puzzle or attack an enemy. And then down is like
come back.
Is to call him back. Yeah. And then left is to scold him, and right is to praise him. And then you have a click. If you click R3, you tell him to sit or stay. And you know when he does something correct, if you praise him, then your friendship goes up. And then if he doesn't listen to you and you scold him, you know, then you also
that also
build up
like make him makes him more obedient. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just at the beginning of the game, sometimes it is frustrating. He just straight up just doesn't fucking listen to you, and you're like, come on.
So why you need to build up a friendship? You have to play with him with the ball.
I get it, but I don't know. It's just annoying to have like
a ball?
that kind of mechanic.
Yeah, there's you guys never got to the training area, the dog area?
What dog area are you talking about?
Well, there's like you send them through like a hole to open the door on the other side, like in the front garden, in the fountain. Yeah, in the beginning.
Oh, no, I never sent them through that hole.
Find the ball?
Yeah, and then you find a hidden ball. It's like
I found the ball.
And you play fetch with him.
He did nothing. I threw it like fucking 50 times, and he just stood there. I was like, are you gonna fucking pick the ball up, or what are you gonna do?
I played with him for a while, and then I actually learned how to like properly time the attacks with the fucking dummies in the training area as well. It was a lot of things.
Yeah, I found that area. Doesn't really tell you. It's not really clear that this is like some sort of friendship building area.
I mean, it was just it wasn't a safe area because Debilitas did eventually find me, and it was like, oh fuck, playtime's over. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, because he found me there too. Because I was like, oh, a ball. I can build friendship with you. I threw it. He did absolutely no reaction to it. I did go. He did no reaction to it. I tried to pick it up. He nothing. I tried kicking it and it rolled, and I was like, okay, you gonna get it? Nothing. Absolutely. I was like, okay, fuck this.
It worked fine for me. I don't know what happened with you.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like it's weird to have like a like it's a game mechanic that's like, hey, it's gonna be really shitty at first until later on in the game.
Never play The Last Guardian. I'll give you that.
I mean, never play Sonic in the Secret Rings because it's even worse than that game. They're like, hey, you like controlling Sonic? Well, it's gonna be real shitty at the start of the game. And you're like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's throughout the whole game, isn't it?
No, you have to buy upgrades to be able to control him better. In that game.
God.
Yeah, that's why it's so low on the list.
I mean, that's the thing. At least it's not the main character.
Yeah, it's just a little frustrating when you try to tell him to sit or whatever. You're trying to do a puzzle and then he like gets off.
I mean, it makes sense in the world that's the
yeah. I mean, I get what they were going for. Like he acts like a real pet. Like they don't always obey you unless they're like super disciplined. But like it's kind of annoying as a gameplay mechanic, especially when you need him to live. If you're constantly pressing like come here, and he doesn't fucking follow you. Like, he follows you like 10 steps and you have to tell him, come here again. Kind of annoying. Or when you have to backtrack to go get him because he's behind the door because fucking Daniela closed the door on him. The fuck?
Yeah. And then he's barking and then or crying and he's gonna alert the fucking guy. And you're like, oh god, he shut the hell up.
Yeah.
No, his barks don't alert the guys.
No.
I don't know. Are you sure?
Yes.
I mean, I had no idea. The game doesn't really tell you.
It was a little weird that like you could hide and he would just like be like right beside the hiding spot.
He'd be there,
and the enemy would just not notice at all.
That's
right?
The thing, yeah,
like in a cabinet, and he's literally like sniffing the cabinet, and the enemy's just like, it must not be in there.
Well, that's the thing. They are like some of the pursuers. So I know Debilitas just ignores him unless like if you send Huey to attack him, then Debilitas will like try to kick him away and shit like that. But with Daniela and Ricardo, especially fucking Ricardo, if you hide from Daniela like in the closet or something, and then you manage to get away from her, she'll go after, like she'll pursue Huey in the next room and try to like attack him, like out of frustration. And
really?
Ricardo, yes, that happened to me a lot. And especially with fucking Ricardo, like I would send Huey to attack Ricardo.
Oh yeah,
and I would get away and I would get away, and then I just hear fucking gunshots and fucking Huey just crying like constantly, and like he stood there. I went back because I was waiting for the longest time. And I was hiding in the room in the room next to where Ricardo was, and I was waiting for a while, and the music like wouldn't stop. So I like went back out into like back of the room where it was, and I couldn't see Huey anyway. It was still there shooting Huey, and he like made Louis collapse. Like in normal mode, Huey doesn't die. He just collapses on the floor like until you give him an item and restore his stamina back. But in hard mode, he can actually die.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I went back into that room, Huey was like collapsed on the floor. Ricardo was laughing and that he shot him and everything, and then he started chasing me again. So I had to hide again and come back and rescue Huey.
In normal mode, you don't have to give him an item for him to get back up. You could just praise him, and she'll like pat him. Yeah, but he'll get back up.
But you can give him beef jerky, and that makes him more friendly towards you.
Yeah,
as well.
More friendly and completely restores his stamina. Yeah,
he's happy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean you mentioned Ricardo. He's the third guy who goes after you, and he has a gun.
And he's the worst guy.
He's the one. Yes, he's the one that chased me the most. That was the most.
Oh no, I didn't mean worst like hardest. I mean worst like in the story and like.
Oh yeah.
In the presentation, he's just lame as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also annoying when he becomes fucking invisible.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Like, I don't even think of him as scary anymore. He's just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Exactly.
Though when he was invisible, it felt a lot more scripted than random, because it was such a small section that you had him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one section was like fucking irritating.
Yeah, it was not fun.
No.
And then, I don't even remember what the hell I was just gonna say about him. But yeah, he's a fucking asshole. Fucking.
Well, that fucking boss fight with him at the end, like, you're not at the end of the tower. Yeah. You're just going around in a circle with him just invisible. Like, it looks ridiculous because you don't see him the whole time. It's so fucking stupid.
You only see him when he attacks,
Yeah, I mean, like, barely.
Yeah.
Kept sending, like, Huey up to, like, up into the posts. You can send him like through the hole, and he stands there and waits. And you can like have him jump down at him. But I kept missing, so I'm like, well, I don't really know exactly where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird for me too. Like that was the accidentally easiest fucking most unsatisfying boss fight in the whole game.
It's easy if you do it right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I did it accidentally. Like, you get up on the tower. It's like there are ledges along this is like a small circular floor, and there's like ledges of like, and you can break certain walls, so like it's easy to like fall over if you push somebody or whatever. So like I first got there, but to initiate the boss fight, you have to solve a puzzle. I got there, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I saw the breakable walls, I broke them all, so they're all broken before the fight even started. And then I found the puzzle. I was like, oh, okay. I started the puzzle. Then the boss fight starts. But basically, what you have to do is lure him toward, send Huey up at an vantage point, and have him ready to attack. While you go near an edge, bait Ricardo into coming near you, then send Huey to attack him so he falls off the edge.
Yeah.
And I found the boss fight started. I couldn't see him, so I was getting Huey to attack, and he wasn't doing it. So I was like, instead she was telling him to go instead of attack, which is incidentally the same button. But yeah, basically two modes, battle mode and explore mode. But anyway, so I sent him up the tower, and I saw that he was like ready to pounce. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I just put two and two together, and I just went near the edge, and fucking Ricardo like was in front of me. I was like, okay, attack, and it just won within a couple minutes. It's just like, what? Okay.
It's incredibly lame. Ricardo's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. That puzzle I got stuck on, by the way, because I didn't know the bridge. Like, it took me forever to find the bridge piece to put there.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see the breakable parts of the floor initially, so I was like going around in a circle with him chasing me for like.
Yeah. Like there's like these like little like pipes or whatever. I didn't even know you could.
There's like on the first floor, all the way down.
So I want to mention, for me at least, I didn't really find, like, I wasn't really scared. Like I like wouldn't like say this game is scary as much as it is, like, I would use the word like disturbing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Like, I wasn't scared. I was disturbed and like anxious, but
yeah, there's a lot of and I do want to have like just a little bit where we talk about spoilers, because we haven't talked about the last pursuer, and we'll talk about him when we talk about spoilers, because the story, and without getting into too much detail, there's some really like disturbing just things that are implied in the story, you know, that they use to make you feel uncomfortable or unsettled. And I think, to me, that was the biggest part of the game, was just like being like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was effective.
Like, this is what they're implying right now? Oh, what the fuck, man?
I didn't think it was good.
Well, you want to have spoiler talk now and talk about the story and how it winds up?
Well, let me just say, I don't know what the fuck you guys were playing, but every time Daniela came out and her music started, the fucking hairs on the back of my neck were up. So I was like, get her the fuck away from me. She's fucking terrifying. But she's the only person I felt that for. But yeah, she's really, really good. She's the best one, I think.
Cool.
In terms of pursuers, yeah, she definitely was like the creepiest.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, well, I'll put a tag spoilers in the description here. So I want to start talking about the real overarching story here in the game, where you find out that you inherited this castle, right? Fiona has inherited the castle, and that her parents had died in the car accident, and that, you know, the beginning, like the first two pursuers, right, don't really have anything to do with like your backstory or anything. It's not until you get to Ricardo that you find out that, like, he looks exactly like your dad, and you find out that he is a clone of your father. So he isn't your dad. Your dad did get murdered by him, in fact, and he was you find out that him and your father were both clones of the head of the castle, Lorenzo, and that Lorenzo is basically trying to make clones of himself to live through them, to take over their body, to find just to be able to live forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your father, I think his name is Hugo.
Yeah.
Ugo,
Yeah, he ends up escaping. He's like, I gotta get out of here. So he escapes the castle, and he starts a family. You know, he gets married, he starts a family, and you know, he has you. You're his daughter. So Ricardo rams you guys off the road. You know, kills your parents, and then you know, captures you. And you have, supposedly he had the Azoth in him. Now, exactly what the Azoth is,
It's a great question.
It's a good ass question.
Yeah.
You know, it's left to interpretation because everybody wants it, but they never really tell you exactly what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Well,
To
we
give
never
you a
really-
rough idea, it's like a life essence of some sort.
We never really talked about the
supposedly.
alchemy that's in this game. There's a lot of alchemy
Right.
stuff that's present. Like you can craft a bunch of items, which is not a
Oh,
great
yeah.
system. It sucks ass.
I
But-
Sucks.
barely used
So
it.
shit. It's impossible. You have to get lucky.
But story wise, like alchemy plays a big part. That's how he makes
That's how he
clones
does
and wants to
clones.
live forever, and that's what the
Yeah.
Azoth is a part of.
There's a lot of failed clones and stuff like hanging around.
Homunculi, yeah.
Yeah, they're just like weird naked guys licking the floor and doing weird stuff, which are like, oh, what the hell is going on? But which I assume they're just a bunch of failed clones, right?
Yep.
And yeah, there's a lot of alchemy and stuff like that's. You see these like test tubes and everything, or where he's trying to make more clones. But yeah, so Ricardo, you kill Ricardo, and
Ricardo was more like a self-conscious clone that wanted to be the immortal one instead of like listening to Lorenzo, which was like the essential of the original.
yeah. And Ricardo, though, here's the thing. This is where it got really fucked up for me. Ricardo, he keeps insinuating that he wants to impregnate Fiona.
Yeah.
He's not insinuating. He says, "Give me your womb."
Yeah,
Yeah.
give me your womb. I need your womb. And then you're just like, first of all, I mean, that in itself, right? It's implying he wants to rape her, which in any case, no matter who it is, you're like, okay, this is fucked up. But when you think about it, he's the clone of your dad, right? He looks exactly like your dad. And he might as well be your uncle. But he wants to rape you. It's like, what the fuck? It's
Yeah.
not only implying like rape, but it's also implying incest. And I'm like, dude, I hate this right now. But it makes you want to get away from him because he's a fucking motherfucker, and it's gross, and I hate it. There's even, in fact, an ending that you can get early. You can end the game early because he does capture you at one point, and you would have to be really trying, first of all, to get this ending, because the only way you can get it is to treat Huey like shit, have a really bad friendship with Huey. Which you have to, like, again, you have to be kicking him and treating him like shit and scolding him all constantly. So you have to really be trying to get this ending. But if you do, when Ricardo captures you, Huey normally comes and saves you, helps you escape. Well, in this ending, he doesn't because you've treated him like crap. So instead, you're treated to Fiona waking up and she's now pregnant. And it's just like, why?
And also, she's insane. Like
She's insane. She
lost her
smiles
mind.
and laughs, and she's enjoying it. She's completely broken. She's gone completely fucking insane. And it's just like, yeah, it's like, what the hell? So that's one ending you get if if you want to end the game early. But again, you have to be going out.
You have to
your way.
really try. It's the hardest ending
Yeah.
to get, apparently.
So yeah, and then you get to the end of the game, and you have Lorenzo there, and he's still trying to get the Azoth, and he is like super old and crippled. And at first, when you first meet him, he pursues you by he gets out of his wheelchair and just straight up crawls at you.
That caught me off guard. Like I was
creepy.
like, the first time I encountered him, I was like, oh, okay, he's in a wheelchair. He's gonna be slow as fuck. No, he's a fast motherfucker.
He's fast. He's fast for crawling.
He was like fucking crawling towards you at the speed of light. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then-
I thought that was pretty cool, but like he gets defeated very fast.
Yeah, you basically you throw him in like a fucking like rock crusher or whatever, and just absolutely just murder him. Well, at least you would think. But he comes back as a younger version of himself, which is weird. I don't understand what.
Was that supposed to be the same guy? Because what the fuck?
Yeah, that's him. That's young Lorenzo. He comes back. It's him.
That
I don't
doesn't
know
make-
how he comes back exactly. I don't know how he got younger.
Well, it is implied that he did figure out how to be immortal and everything, and then he did, like, with all the alchemy, he learned, like, spells and magic and whatnot. So, I don't understand why he still needed the Azoth from Fiona since he was already this powerful.
Yeah.
I assumed it was more like he was running out of time and his magic was running low, and he was, like, last-ditch effort to make himself young again or something. I don't know. They weren't particularly clear on that font.
They weren't particularly clear on much.
Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes a striking young man, and at that point he can like teleport around and like do magic and
Makes
stuff.
earthquakes and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you finally kill him in the final boss battle. You knock him into like a pit of lava, and then the castle starts collapsing. And as you try to escape, no, he ain't dead yet. He comes back as a fucking flaming skeleton. And at that point, he can just one-hit KO you. If you get hit by him, you're dead. This is it's like the last escape sequence in the game, and then like a statue tries to fall on you, and you're trying to like
Yeah,
you have
fuck
to
that
smash the
statue.
shit out of it. Smash the circle button. But yeah, the guy won't die. He's a flaming skeleton man, and then but once you get out, once you get through that part, he just kind of like fizzles out, and finally he's like, "Oh, I'm dead," and then you escape, and then you get the either you get one of two different endings there at the end of the game. Well, there's the other ending we talked about, but at that point there's two endings: ending A and ending B. I got ending A. Noah, you said
I got ending B. Because the way you get ending A is if you, in your first boss, when the first boss fight of the game with Debilitas, is two ways to beat him. Like you can either break the some controls that are on the wall that hold up the chandelier, and it drops on him, and he just stops chasing you at that point. Or you can kill him, which because for some reason my settings on my game were like making the game a lot more dark than it was supposed to be, which I didn't realize till it was too late. And I did not see those mechanisms on the walls, so I didn't know I could drop the chandelier on him, so I just outright killed him with Huey.
You're a fucking murderer.
Well, he wouldn't leave me alone, so fuck it.
Poor Debilitas. I mean, he misunderstood.
It made me feel bad. It made me feel bad afterwards once I found out what he actually was and why he was
bows
doing
to
what he was.
you.
Yeah.
You missed him bowing.
You missed it.
And then he does some
murdered
gardening.
him.
Yep.
He's just the groundskeeper after all.
You're a real piece of shit, Noah.
I mean, he killed me first, so.
So yeah, if you get ending A, then you keep him alive. He comes out at the end. He comes out of the castle and bows to you, and then you get a little thing of him clipping the hedges, which I think is kind of a reference to Clock Tower because he has these like big giant hedges that he uses. They're kind of like
shears,
Scissor Man. Yeah, it's kind of like Scissor Man. So I think it's some sort
It's
of nod
definitely
to
a
that
nod
series.
to it, yeah.
So that's kind of cool. But those are the only real differences in the endings. It's just whether he comes out or not. And other than that, it just ends. Fiona's just like, all right, come on, Huey, let's go. One thing I thought was weird.
Well, there's another ending, but you have to beat it like on
You have to beat it
New
once.
Game Plus or something like that.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you have to do you have to have beaten the game once, and then if you have to again not kill Debilitas, and then he gives you a key, and you use that key to unlock a room. Which you get to do the same thing in the original, the first playthrough as well. But the second playthrough, the table has an extra item on it, which is just a gate key, which just lets you walk right out the front gate and leave the game real early. and you get a little cutscene of Lorenzo being like, Fiona! And he's like, don't leave! And he falls out of his wheelchair, and you just walk away. So you get to end the game like super early.
Yeah,
Which is kind of, what's the point of that? But it's silly. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, this is why I wouldn't call it exactly multiple endings, except for like the bad ending and the good ending. Like, multiple endings, I put that in quotation marks. I'm like, why? This is not even...
Right. Because ending A and B are more or less exactly the same. And then ending C is kind of like a bonus little like hidden one after you beat the game. And then ending D is just the bad ending. So yeah, this is really more or less just two. Yeah, you're right. Oh, crap. I was going to say something else that I forgot to say. Oh, one thing I thought was kind of weird throughout the game. Fiona seemed very... I don't know. She didn't seem too, like, upset about the fact that her parents died to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she had a lot going on, right? But it was just like, her parents died. At the end of the game, she was just like, let's go.
She also didn't seem all that, like, surprised that there were clones of her family. Like, her whole family is part of, like, some clone thing. Like, why? Why isn't she more interested in this? Like, she never talks about it.
Yeah, it's like,
you
she
think there'd be
literally
more
is just
inner monologue,
there.
right?
Yeah. She literally is just there to escape. She doesn't really care about anything else, like, literally.
Well, I feel like I would care if, like, your ancestor
for
made
sure.
a bunch of clones.
For sure, yeah. Like,
And your dad was a clone.
But she's so one-dimensional. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my biggest problem with the storytelling.
That's why I liked Huey more.
Yeah, I guess. And I did like their relationship the most.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like she was missing that part. Yeah, that would have made it a little bit more engaging. But
Yeah, I think they could have done, just a better job as Fiona as a character, making you care about her and what she has going on a little
Spend less times animating the boobs.
Yeah. They really focused in. They narrowed in on that sex appeal on her. You know, they really wanted to make that a point. Which, I mean, each character kind of, because they focus on it, it makes sense in terms of the character, you know, the guys chasing after it makes sense. So
sort of, kind of, a little bit. I mean, it complements the themes of the story, sure, but, like, is this really necessary?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a plus, that's all.
Or a minus.
Well, I think that you guys have anything spoiler, like, in terms of spoilers you want to mention before we stop talking about spoilers?
Don't think so.
No? Okay. Alright. So that's the end. No more spoilers, so you're good now. So, yeah, I think we're going to get into talking about suggestions, whether or not we play this. We would recommend you to play this game. Recommendations. Noah, I'm going to start with you, since you chose this game, obviously. So, would you recommend somebody to play Haunting Ground?
Under the right conditions, yes. Like, if you're a fan of the survival horror or Clock Tower series, I feel like this is a good game to try out. It's definitely unique in terms of that genre. I can only think of the Clock Tower series where have the mechanic of hiding from your pursuers and getting away from them rather than engaging in combat and, like, trying to shoot something or kill something.
God, have you ever played a game called Amnesia?
I mean, you don't really interact with your pursuers that much.
You hide.
I mean, yeah, but it's different. It's different.
It's different. It is different.
Very different. That's what I'm trying to get to. But this Brandon mentioned it is hard game to get, and it is one of those rare, expensive games to get. I mean, if you want to...
I do want to mention some bullshit as well, by the way.
Yeah.
PlayStation 3 had, like, PS2 classics, right? They released games on the PlayStation 3 from the PS2 as digital download. Well, it came out in Japan, but never outside of Japan as a digital download on the PS3, so...
Said.
Yeah. It could easily be an easy game to get nowadays, but Capcom said, fuck everybody else.
We want Demento, not Haunting Ground, they said.
But yeah, as long as you don't pay a stupid amount of cash for it, I would say it's worth it.
Sure. All right, Ills.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised on how much I thought how good of a quality this game was. Like I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. I did like the exploration aspect. When the fucking pursuers weren't hounding my every step. But yeah, for the most part, I really liked it, and I think at the very least, the Daniela part is the highlight of the game for me, and survival horror genre fans should really experience that part at least.
Okay. I would say yes as well. I thought overall the package of this game is actually a pretty good game. I like survival horror games myself. So I thought, it had a lot of what I like in survival horrors, and it's not a perfect game, obviously, but if you are a fan of the genre at all and you haven't played this game, I would say you definitely should. It is a very gorgeous looking PS2 game, by the way. I mean, it's probably one of the best PS2 games I've ever seen in terms of graphics, because PS2, like I said earlier, I mean, it's not the best console at the time, but this game looks really good. The character animations look really well. The lighting and I like the designs of the castles and everything like that. I just think it's really cool. And I definitely check this game out any way you can. If you find this game cheap, fucking definitely pick it up, because it's very expensive nowadays. So you're gonna have to play it any way you can. I'm not telling you to do anything that we didn't do.
For some reason, like every time I think about how good this game looks and how open the world is, I think of Final Fantasy 12, because it has sort of a similar thing going on, where like the environments are very open, and it is also like one of the best best looking PS2 games there are. So yeah,
this game definitely holds up in terms of the looks. It's just a good looking game. All right, well, all that being said, now it's time to take Haunting Ground and put it on the list.
The list.
You can follow along with the list in the Pastebin link in the description below, where every week on the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, we add the game that we played to the list. So, Noah, we'll start with you. Look at the list and give us a starting point on where you think it should go, and then we'll go from there.
Always a tough one. I'm past the hundreds, I would think. There's a little group here with Silent Hill 2 and Amnesia. I don't know, give me... I'm thinking like somewhere between like in the 80s, maybe higher. I don't know.
I was closer to the. I was thinking like somewhere in the 90s myself. Maybe the low 90s.
90s.
Well, I was thinking in the 120s.
Oh, okay. Well, completely opposite.
3 different spots. All right, well, just talk to me, guys, and I'll see what
How do you feel about this game versus Pandora's Tower?
I don't think it's as good as Pandora's Tower, actually.
How do you feel about this game versus Mystical Ninja starring Goemon?
Definitely like this one better than Goemon.
2 very different games.
Yeah.
Welcome to the list.
Nature of the beast. Yeah, I like Goemon a lot, but I don't know. For that's a hard one. That's a harder one for me. I think it could go either way.
How do you feel about this game versus Zack and Wiki?
This is better than Zack and Wiki.
You know how I feel about Zack and Wiki.
That's why I asked.
I mean, I've tried to move Zack and Wiki up twice, and it is where it is.
Wait,
now
you
at this
moved it up
point.
twice.
I did move it up twice, yeah. But I mean, I got it about as high as I can possibly get it with everybody else's opinions.
That's probably
thrown
true.
into the mix. So, I really like that game a lot. So I might think that game is better than this game, but where it is on the list, I mean, I can't do anything about that.
How do you feel about this game versus Untitled Goose Game?
So vastly different.
I mean, come on. We do this every time.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this one's better than Untitled Goose Game.
Okay, so how about
Untitled
Goose Game?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I wanted it in the 80s, so...
No, I mean like right above Untitled Goose Game.
right, because you do bring up a good point. I don't think it is better than Pandora's Tower.
Yeah, but what about Drill Dozer and DuckTales? And we just mentioned Sonic Generations.
I think those
all
two games and Sonic Generations should go down, but yes.
Cave Story, Until Dawn, Dragon Ball Z Fighters.
No, a Cave Story. I don't think it should go down. Or Until Dawn. I think Until Dawn is much better than this game.
GoldenEye, Miss Pac-Man, Animal Crossing, Einhinder.
GoldenEye is a separate conversation that I've had multiple times.
There are single individual games within the 120 to 80 range, which I would agree that it shouldn't go above of, but there are a lot of chunks that I feel like it should go above of.
No, because I think once I start getting to the game, I mean, just pretty much all the games above Pandora's Tower, except for maybe like Drill Dozer. I don't know if it's better than those games.
Is
Do you
it
think
better than
I'm
Luigi's Mansion, Noah?
That's Luigi's Mansion's too low.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
I think Until Dawn's a better horror game.
So do I.
What about Silent Hill and Amnesia?
Yeah,
I think they're both
definitely.
better.
They're both better?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in Silent Hill, I'm not backtracking all the way to the fucking...
You do backtrack.
Silent Hill 2
hiding
has a
spot.
way better map.
Yeah, fucking map is horrendously bad in this game. Well, not horrendously bad, but it sucks.
You don't really need it that much, but Silent Hill 2 has like god tier map.
The best map I've ever seen in a game. That's not even a joke. That's the truth.
Yeah, it's real fucking.
Yeah, it constantly gets updated. I did like that.
And Amnesia's just like
It's a quality game, but like in the 120s, these are not bad games.
these are
It's
still quality
true.
games.
It's true.
These are all still.
I mean,
quality
it
games.
sounds low, like 120 out of 200 something, but like it's not until like the 170s where we get into like really sketchy territory.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
160s,
all these games
160s,
are good.
170s.
So I mean, yeah, I'm okay. I'm honestly okay with right above Untitled Goose Game. I mean, yeah, it's fine. Fine with me.
Noah?
I mean, I guess.
All right.
And I assume Hills, you're okay with that because that's what you said.
Yeah, that's
so.
where I wanted.
All right. Well, I mean, two to one, either way. So I guess at this point, sorry, Noah.
I mean,
Well,
this is-
Noah, do you think Pandora's Tower is better?
in some aspects, yeah.
I mean,
But not in
you know what I'm
everything.
asking.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause I never got to fully complete Pandora's Tower. So I never got to fully experience, so I can't really weigh in that much about it. So maybe that's probably why I have a little bit lesser opinion about it than you guys, but... Alright.
Okay, well, that puts.
It's just the chunks above it that are just like make me feel like, oh, this definitely needs to go higher than those. But whatever, it's fine.
Well, that puts it at number 120 on the list. And surrounding it, a lot of Game Club games surrounding it, by the way. So 118 is Drill Dozer, Game Club game. 119, Pandora's Tower, Game Club game. 120 is now Haunting Ground. 121, Untitled Goose Club, which was a Game Club game.
Goose Game.
And then 122, Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Which was a SAF Club game.
That's it's a SAF game. You picked that game for us to play on the regular game club, or the regular episodes. But sorry, not the game club. SAF has died from the game club. So hey, if you enjoy the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, make sure you check us out on your favorite podcast listening service of your choice. iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. New episodes of the Game Club go up every Thursday. Or every other Thursday. Not every Thursday. Jeez, I would die. And new episodes of the regular Jump Up Supercast go up every Monday. So give us a like, follow us, share. Feel free to let us know if you played Haunting Grounds or what you think about Haunting Grounds in the comments below. Support us if you want to. We do have a Patreon. $1 a month can get you the chance to choose one of our Game Club games at least once a round. We mentioned Amnesia earlier when we were talking about the list, and that game actually was a Patreon selected choice. So if you want to choose a game for us to play, we'll talk about it, and we would appreciate it a lot if you guys wanted to support us. We appreciate everybody who already does. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to stay up to date on Jump Up Supercast. And when episodes go up, and we even stream sometimes on twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. And as always, I want to thank Ills and Noah for playing games. But before we end the episode completely, I got to choose the next game for us to play on the next upcoming episode here. And for this one, I'm gonna choose a Nintendo Power Joint, a game that was talked about a lot back in that magazine's heyday. And this is a DS game, a little known game, but I always thought it was kind of cool, and I want to actually get around to finishing it, and it's called Monster Tale. So,
Monster Tale, okay.
Yeah, join us in 2 weeks, and we'll talk about Monster Tale and let you guys know what we think about it. So thank you guys for listening. Go out there, play some video games, be nice.